Welcome to Making It Happen, a career in the performing arts, where we discuss how to break into the performing arts industry for yourself or your child, teen, or young adult. Guests include professionals who are passionate and share my vision of helping talented individuals land professional representation and have successful careers in the arts. My name is Leesa Csolak, and I am the CEO and founder of Making It Happen, a career in the performing arts, having helped hundreds of clients break into the performing arts business on stage, in films, television, commercial work, and more. This podcast is supplemental to my groundbreaking online courses, Professional Kids and Teens 101, a primer for parents, and Professional Biz 201 for young adults, college students, and graduates. For more information, check out all the ways you can benefit from my courses, my programs, my free weekly newsletter, and free guides. Go to lbctalent.com. My guest today is Amanda LaCount. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I have to share with you. I just finished reading your bio on IMDb, and I knew you did a lot of wonderful things, but I had no idea how much. So I'm super excited to talk to you right now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. And you've been busy, right? Even the last couple of weeks, you've been busy.
Yeah, I've been in I was on the East Coast shooting something that was pretty exciting for about a month, and then I just got back yesterday.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for jumping into this so quick. See?
Of
Oh my
course.
gosh. Yeah. So and the big part of this too, Amanda, is the journey. You know what I mean? I think everybody's is different, and I'm sure you have, lots of acquaintances and friends and even very famous people that you're rubbing elbows with now, and I'm sure their journeys have all been very different as well. And I think it's important that people listen to those and understand that, if your child has the grit and the passion and the talent and you connect them to the right people, they can make this happen too. So let's start at the beginning.
Cool.
So when did you realize that you wanted to be a performer? I mean, was it really young?
Yeah, it was very, very young. I come from a family of 7, and I'm the youngest. Yeah, big, very big family.
Wow. Okay.
And my 2 older sisters were dancing when I was growing up, and I would always be at the studio just because my mom was a single mom, and I would have to go with them to the studio. And whenever music would be playing, I'd be bouncing all over the place, or I'd be staring through the window to my sisters. And I think she just got that sense that I would really enjoy dancing. And so she saw that and took notice and put me in dance. And then I fell in love with it immediately. And I just love performing, and I love the energy, and I love making people feel something, and I just fell in love with it right away. So I think I knew I wanted to be a performer when I was 5.
Really? It's so interesting because I've talked to so many people, and I've always said, if you can, and I think there's someone who is probably super, intellectual, who has said that if you do something, if you end up in a career where you are doing what you did when you were 4 to 6 years old in play, like playing even, then you can have a happy life. You're going to be doing something that you love and whatever, because it's going to always feel like play, which sounds like that was the space you were in. Similarly for me as well. So, yeah, my story is another story, but we're talking about you today. I would love to just talk to you. We should just have coffee, or whatever.
Yeah,
Get a cocktail next time I'm in LA.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. So, okay. So now you're really young, you're taking dance training, and are you in a major city, or where are you?
Yeah, so I'm from Colorado originally, and I'm from a place called Fort Collins, which I always say it's a small town, but then people are like, it is not small, it is big. But I think it's definitely not a big city. It wasn't the hub for dance. So I went to 2 or 3 studios in my area, but then I kind of decided to branch out a little bit. So I would have to go down. I went to school in Denver, because I went to Denver School of the Arts to study dance, which was such an amazing experience, and I was so lucky to be able to go there and go to art school.
Sure.
So I go there, and then I also started dancing down in Denver, and then at one point I was even going to Colorado Springs to dance, and then coming back to Fort Collins, which is about a 2-hour drive or more. So my mom was very dedicated, so shout out to my mom. I'll probably talk about her a lot throughout this, because definitely would not be where I am without her. But yeah, I started mostly in my area, but then I kind of had to branch out to get what I thought would be the best training for me at that time.
You know what? It's interesting that you mentioned your mom because it's all about that support system, right? And for her to see that, do you think that she noticed right away that there was something there? I mean, obviously, for her to seek out instruction 2 hours away, right?
Mhm.
There had to be something that she saw. So it's funny you bring this up because lately I have clients all over the country and on 4 continents. So I have a lot of clients that they're new and they're just coming through and asking questions. But here's been the big question this month,
Mhm.
this past month in January. How
Uh,
do I determine readiness in my child or teen? When are they ready? My goodness, we should have your mother here too. Um,
um, yeah, I think
did she
I think
notice it, or has she talked about that with you?
yeah, she definitely noticed pretty early. Well, she noticed right away how much I loved it. Right
Hmm.
away. Like she could tell immediately that I was obsessed with it and probably going to do it for a long time, but I think she probably didn't realize until I was around like I would say maybe 8 or 9 or 10 that I wanted to do this like professionally. And she was thinking maybe in her head, oh, this is going to be something that she tries to pursue and it's not just, a hobby.
Hmm.
I would say probably around 8 or 9. And I think she just got that from, again, how much I loved it and how passionate I was about it. But I also was just very dedicated and I would talk about it all the time. If I wasn't at dance, I'd be talking about dance. I'd be wanting to be at dance. And I think she just knew that it was something I was very passionate about and
Hmm.
she wanted to support that passion as much as she could. And I think she got the sense pretty early on that it was going to be something that I do for a long time.
Yeah, it's interesting because so many parents, they have friends and relatives and other people that they don't even know telling their kids that they're talented, whether that be on stage at a school event,
Mhm.
or on stage at a competition. And
Yeah.
I don't think it matters so much whether you win a contest or not. And I had a performing arts school for over 40 years myself. I've also done a ton of choreography. I did choreography for Madonna's 2012 World
Wow.
Tour. So I've
Awesome.
done producing and directing. I've done all the things. And the competition is a great way to get up on stage and to hone the craft of performing.
Mhm.
But I don't really think about the wins as something that important. I have never thought that way. I don't know if you agree, but did
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
find that were other people in your life saying, "Oh my gosh, like there's something there," or was it just something between you and your mother?
Yeah, I think first of all, I do agree with you with competitions. As I mean, I grew up as a competition kid, so I do have
Mhm.
a special place for it in my heart. I think it helped me a lot in certain aspects, like you said. But I do
Yeah.
agree that I think there's a lot of importance placed on winning in competitions, and like if you win, then you're gonna make it. That is not the case. I know some of the most talented dancers that are working all day, every day now that never won a competition or that never even did competition dance. And a lot of, I just think competitions aren't as um they aren't a marker for how successful you're going to be in the industry. It's great to win and you should celebrate, of course, but
Yeah,
just
yeah.
I don't think that necessarily means if you don't win, you're not going to be successful or anything.
Mhm.
But as far as if like other people took notice or just my mom, it was well, I would say number one supporter was my mom. And then it was kind of tricky because I had a mix of people with very different opinions. Like some people would say, "What are you doing? You're not going to make it." Like, no, just quit now while you're ahead kind of thing. But then I also had a few teachers along my training that were like, "No, you have something very special and if you just like hone it in and really like go after it, I really think you can be something." So I kind of had a mix. And that also kind of made it difficult because I kind of in my head when I was younger, I was like, so what do I believe? Can I make it or are they lying or
Mhm.
can I not? Or it was just kind of confusing because I had so many mixed
Mhm.
opinions. But I
Mhm.
think having my mom being my biggest supporter and she really never doubted me at all even when I maybe kind of doubted myself a little bit,
Mhm.
she was always very reassuring and saying, "No, this is what you were born to do. Like, you are amazing and you love it. So you should go after it." And I think without that, again, I wouldn't be where I am. But there were other people as well, other teachers that I had growing up. There's Jenny. I just love. There's a girl named Jenny who I grew up dancing with in Loveland, which is kind of close to Fort Collins, and she always was amazing to me, and she helped me with my training. And now I teach at her studio when I come back to Colorado. So it's a full circle moment. So I had a little bit of a mix of both.
I love that. I love that. So, okay, so you did the competition thing and then you got to go to performing arts high school. And
Yes.
then did you decide to do a collegiate program? Talk about that and that journey and making that decision and how you ended up where you ended up if it was a university program that you chose.
Yeah, so I went to Denver School of the Arts from sixth grade to the beginning of ninth grade.
Mhm.
And I decided to do that because I wanted to take my training to the next level. I was dancing outside of school, and then I had heard about Denver School of the Arts before, and I honestly didn't even know if I would get in. I was like, I might not get in. It might be a long shot, but let's just try because it'd be a great opportunity,
Mhm.
obviously, to be able to dance at school. And then also it's just a great opportunity to be surrounded by other creatives and other artists. I think it's just a different environment than
Absolutely.
non-art school.
Mhm.
So when I got in, I was really excited, and I think it was a great experience for me to go through. I think it got me ready for the professional world because there were certain
Mhm.
things we had to do and everything that definitely um like mirror what I have to do now as a professional.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I was very grateful for that. And then when I was 13, my mom and I decided to move to California, and we decided to move. I was actually supposed to move earlier, but then I kind of chickened out because I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't want to leave my
That's
friends.
so young. You left your home so young to go to Los Angeles. Were you working professionally at that time?
The reason I moved to LA and what brought me out was there was a dance crew at the time that I got on, because this is actually a very funny story. My mom saw on Facebook that there was this dance crew looking for a dancer, another dancer. And she just saw this randomly on Facebook. It was a producer that posted, and this is in California, and we're all the way in Colorado. And my mom goes, I'm just gonna like DM or message this producer, and
Mhm.
just pitch you and see what happens. And I was like,
Sure.
Mom, you're crazy.
Is your
You're
is your mom a marketing specialist? She sounds like she might be. Go ahead.
No, I'm very lucky to have her as my mom. She's the
That's so
best.
amazing. That's
But
amazing.
she messages her and is like, you should look at my daughter. She's awesome. And sure enough, neither of us thought it would go anywhere, but they ended up actually putting me on the crew. So we would come out to LA every weekend driving from Colorado to do these rehearsals and performances and then go back home so I could make it to school the Monday morning. So we did that for probably like a month or two, which is crazy. And then after that experience, the crew ended up kind of like fizzling out a little bit. But that initially is what brought me to LA so much. And after I got a little taste of that, I was like, oh, wow, I love this
Mhm.
so much. Like, I want to be around these people that are trying to make it like I am. I want to be around that energy. I want these
Mhm.
opportunities.
Yeah.
And I talked to her, and she was on board pretty fast. Like, again, she's never doubted me or anything. Like, she's just always said, if I do this, you better go after it and work hard, and
Yeah, yeah, of
mess
course.
around.
Yeah. Yeah,
Always
yeah.
been supportive. And within like probably a month of us talking about it, we were out here. So she quit her job. She left her other six kids. Now, to be fair, I'm the youngest, so they were all
Okay.
in college or graduated. But still, leaving your kids and the place and home is still very scary. And the fact that she
Mhm.
was willing to take that jump for me was
Mhm.
a very big blessing in my life. So then we moved, and we moved out here with really nothing. We came with our really old car we had at the time, and my two dogs, and like two big suitcases, and that was it.
This is like a Hollywood story. I think they should make a movie about your life. I'm serious. Okay, go
People
ahead.
keep saying that. I'm like, maybe
This
one day
is
I would love
great. This
that.
is great. Or you know what? Or write a book, even a
Yes.
children's book or something. You know what I mean? To inspire young artists. That's so cool. Okay, go ahead. I'm excited about the rest of
Um,
this story.
yeah, then we moved, and it started a little rocky. I mean, first we moved with really not many friends. I didn't have any connections really to any choreographers. I didn't know what I was going to do. I wasn't signed. I really had nothing. I had no school lined up for where I was going to go to school. We had to find a place to live in like a week. Very high stress situation, but we both were willing
Oh
to
my
take
God.
that risk because we believed in just my dreams so much. And we found a place to live, we found my school, and then I ended up getting signed. But one story I want to say is probably the first week I lived here, my friend at the time and I went to a red carpet, and it was my first red carpet, so I was very excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I only see this on TV and in movies,
Sure.
like these are real. This is so cool. I get to step on the carpet. Oh my God. And I went on this carpet, and then this really famous like fitness person came up to me, and in front of everyone, which is probably like 150 200 people, said, hey, if you want to make it in this industry, you're gonna have to lose 20 pounds. And I was 13, and
Oh my goodness.
I was devastated because I thought I looked so beautiful that day. I was so excited to be there, and You know, even though like I wasn't a fan of this person, it was still cool to see like a celebrity in person. So I still was like, oh wow, like this person's here. And then for them to come up and say that to me in front of everyone was very
And this was in front of people and they could all hear this?
yeah. And so
Wow.
it was very, that was really hard. And obviously, I mean, I was 13, so I was bawling and I ran away. I was like, I can't be here. Oh my God.
Oh
But then
no.
my mom was there. So she stepped in and, you know, if it's one thing about my mom, if you say anything bad about her or her kids, she will come right back.
Like a mama bear. That's right.
Oh,
Parents go into protection mode. That's what we're supposed to
claws came
do.
out.
Yeah.
And she said, you know nothing about her. Like, you don't know what she does. You don't know her health. You know nothing about her. So you shouldn't be making any comments or anything like that. And this person goes, oh, well, you need to be a good example for your daughter to my mom. So pretty
Wow.
much double down
Wow.
on what they were saying. And then my mom goes, okay, well, when you've had 7 kids, you can talk to me.
This is true. That was a good thing for her to say. I love that. Perfect.
So
Good
that
comeback, Mom.
oh, she's the best with comebacks if you come for me for any of her kids or her. But that was a really crazy experience because it definitely like opened my eyes to kind of how LA would be. I
Like
don't
the
make
attitudes, you mean? Like the attitudes? You were so
I think
young.
I think the attitudes and just it's gotten better, but just
Hmm.
still at that time and even still now, I'm not going to say it's perfect at all, but just still very based on appearance. And if you don't have the right look, whatever that is, then you're not going to make it. And it just it made me realize how, like, for lack of a better word, shallow LA would
Hmm.
be, and that it
Sure.
would be really hard for me to make
Hmm.
it in this industry, no matter how talented I was or how talented I am. There's still going to be people that will never really respect me because of their own ideas of plus size people and how they're not fit or they're unhealthy. There'll always be that.
Hmm.
Um, so it definitely made me open my eyes to, oh wow, this is going to be very very
Yeah, this
hard.
is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so hard at 13.
Yeah, it was tricky. And I remember telling her like, I want to go back to Colorado, I'm done. And she was like, no, like this sucks. And she's very good with like obviously not being like brutal with it, but she'll coddle me, but she won't coddle me enough to where she lets me give up. Like
Hmm.
she'll be like,
Hmm.
yeah, that sucked, I'm so sorry that happened, but then after a
Hmm.
second she'll be like, okay, it happened, we can't change it now. Like
Hmm.
you quitting is not going to do anything, you know,
Hmm.
like this is what you love to do. So just kind of try to brush it off and keep doing what
Hmm.
you want to do.
Perfect. Well, you obviously had the passion and the grit and fortitude and all those things, but you must love the process. Do you know what I mean? Like I always talk with all my clients about you have to love the process because you're going to be doing so much more of that than you
Mhm.
are going to be on stage in a costume. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that work ethic
Mhm.
mixed with the passion, mixed with the love, mixed with that feeling that we get when we're moving or performing in any way. Was there a time when you realized that, you realized that you had deep inside you something that was burning that other dancers may not have had that were around you at that time? You were so young.
Yeah. I think one, even though I'm not saying I'm the only person that has like passion for dance, I'm not saying that, but I just think my passion went beyond and still does go beyond like I just love to dance. It's like it's something so deep in me that is like I was born to do this and I can't imagine not doing it. Like
Hmm.
it's just it's almost more than passion. I wish there was a word like higher than
Yes,
passion,
I
like
totally agree with you. I totally agree with you.
falling, and I just can't, like, no matter how many times I get knocked down, I would never quit just because I love it so much. And then also I think what kind of helped me a little bit later, maybe when I was around like 9 and older, is that I started realizing that a lot of people were not supportive of someone like me trying to make it as a dancer for some reason. They were very offended by me trying to pursue my dreams as someone that doesn't have the dancer look, again, whatever that
Hmm.
means.
Hmm.
And so I think I also had that extra push under my passion and my calling that was like, I also want to show people that I can do it. And I don't
Hmm.
want to say that I was doing it just to prove people wrong. That's not why I do it, but it helps add to like the
Hmm.
flame that
Sure.
keeps me going,
Sure.
is knowing that
Yeah.
people didn't think I could do it and then saying, no, I can. And I'm also going to get to show other people like me that they can do it too if they just keep going, and if they love it and are passionate about it.
So fast forward to going to dance auditions in the LA market, obviously LA, and maybe talk a little bit about the LA market for a commercial dancer, for someone who wants to be a commercial dancer. And if you honestly could define, if you could define commercial dance, not all parents understand the difference between being a
Sure.
dancer who wants to, do musical theater versus being a dancer who wants to do commercial dance. So maybe define that a little bit, and then talk about your experiences as a young person, if you were auditioning at that time, like while you're in high school, like what the high school experience was like.
Yeah, sure. So commercial dance, I'm probably not going to define it perfectly, so don't
You're
don't
fine,
yell.
I'll help you, I can help you.
But it's things like music videos, award shows, um, festival performances, tours, going on tour with an artist. That's all commercial dance. And then I feel like musical theater is just its own separate world. So anything with like musicals or Broadway, that's all kind of separate from commercial dance.
Yes.
A lot of people can go in between both and like do both, but they're different things, different unions, different people, different processes, I'm sure. I haven't been in the theater world as much, so I'm not gonna talk on that because I don't know what I'm talking about. But I would say that's pretty much what commercial is.
Yes. Yeah.
For the
I would
most part.
agree. Yeah.
And then yeah, as far as my audition process, I'm trying to remember what it was like in high school.
Were you auditioning in high school, Amanda? Were you already
Yeah,
auditioning for professional things?
yeah, I was auditioning in high school. I started auditioning more when I turned 18 because just there's more opportunities mostly for adults. But I was auditioning in high school, and I think the auditioning process was pretty good for me. I actually love auditioning, and some people hate it, and I completely understand why. It is a lot of pressure and it's a little scary sometimes. But I just love performing, and I just love when I like, how do I say this? Like, because now in the world of COVID and the pandemic, there's not as many in-person auditions. It's a lot of either, self tapes, or which is where like they send you a combo and you film it yourself and then send it to them. Or it's just direct booked, which is where there's no audition and they just call you because they know you or they've heard of you, things like that. And I miss in-person auditions because I love performing in front of them, and I feel like there's just an energy that you don't get across a video. And so I love in-person auditions because I love connecting with them. And I think that's one of my strengths, is I can really connect with whoever I'm performing to, or like the audience. And my audition process, so I loved auditioning, but there were times where I would get cut. Or one time I remember I went to an audition and I didn't even get to dance. They cut me before I danced. Like they did, like
They typecasted you out.
yeah, basically, which typecasting is when like they have a certain look in mind, or they're looking for certain physical attributes, and so they'll just go through people and say like no, thank you, or like please stay, whatever, just based off of your appearance. And that's always really tough because it's hard not to take that personally, because it's just about how you look. So it's really hard not to get down on yourself about that or feel a little bit self-conscious. And I know there were multiple times where that would happen, and I'd be like, oh God, like here we go, like am I ever gonna make it? Like, is there room for someone like me? Like, and it caused a little bit of self-doubt. But after a second I would get back up and go to the next one. But I think for auditions, you kind of have to get used to being judged, which kind of sucks and isn't the best. But I've also had amazing auditions that have made me more confident or made me feel better about myself. So it's a mix, but I think auditioning can be a little scary. But I think as long as you go in there, and what people always say, different mentors of mine, is like, all you can do is go in there and give you. And if they don't want you, at least you can say, well, I gave it, all, and I gave it my all, and I was myself. And so if they don't want that, then I wouldn't want to do that job anyway.
Absolutely. You know what? I totally agree with you. And in regard to the typing out, like I think people who are tall, like I was taller, I was 5'10.5" when I was younger. Now, after being older, having 3 kids, you shrink a little bit, but I'm not as tall anymore. But I was 5'10.5". And so, a lot of times you're typed out because you're too tall, or you're typed out because you're too small. Like I have clients who are adults who are under 5 foot, or they're just 5 feet, and they get typed out because they're not tall enough. So I think it depends on the project, but like
Yeah.
right now my middle son Kurt is in Funny Girl on Broadway, and
Oh wow.
they wanted all chorus girl types, like they're looking for, new dancers, singer, actresses for the female roles and in
Uh-huh.
the ensemble, and they need tall. So you kind of
Yeah.
never know what they're looking for sometimes when they
Yeah.
put out a breakdown, and honestly, I agree with you that when you go in the room, it also can be considered, it's like a free class where there are stakes involved, where you're going to work really hard and try really hard and, and be the best you on stage that you can be. But I agree with you. I don't think self-tapes are going away, however. I think that's going to be here forever,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah. Because I work with many clients who are trying to do the commercial dance thing. I had one that just got signed 2 days
Oh
ago, so we're very
wow.
excited. Yeah, just out of
Yeah.
college, and I've been mentoring her for quite some time, and she just got signed to do commercial dance and film and TV.
Wow.
Dance for film and TV.
Yeah.
But I have clients trying to be actors, singers, dancers. They want to do Broadway, like all of it. So I'm very familiar with that process.
Mhm.
But it's interesting. I like that advice. I think that's really great. So then now you're going to high school, you're auditioning professionally because you're repped, and
Mhm.
then ultimately did you just continue to work, or did you end up going to university? What ended up happening?
Yeah, so I got my first big job, I would say within like a year and a half. I think around that time, if I'm not mistaken, of being signed is when I got my first bigger job. And it's sad, but I can't I can't remember what it was. It's between two things. It was either The Voice, I danced on The Voice,
Hmm.
or I did Dancing with the Stars with the Descendants cast. I
Okay.
think when they did a Disney night.
Okay.
Um, so those two were some of my first big jobs, and I was so
That must
I
have
mean,
been awesome.
I was very excited. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I finally like booked like a huge like dance thing." I
Yeah,
was so
yeah, yeah.
excited. And then from there, I think with dance, I don't want to speak on everyone and I don't want to like give people's hopes up either, but in my experience and a lot of people that I know and their experience, once you kind of get the ball rolling, it gets kind of more consistent. Now dance will never be consistent or the entertainment industry as a whole, you can never really rely on it because it's so like you never know
Well,
really
you
what's
can't, you know what, too? You can't foresee what's coming. That's what I think is hard for people to understand. I mean, once you're in it, you realize that you're going to do more auditioning than you are performing, and it's all about continuing the training and doing all the things in between. But there's no way of really knowing what's coming. It's kind of like, somebody who I don't know what I could even relate it to. Maybe an emergency room doctor who doesn't know what's going to walk in the door. I mean, that's not really it's not equated the same way, but that idea of like you really don't know what's next, you don't know what's coming down the pike, you can't see that, even if you are represented with an agent or a manager, it's not part of what their knowledge is either. They might know that something's coming a few months from now or a month from now, but they have no idea what's really there and what's going to happen as far as breakdowns that are right for you that you're going to get to go to. So in
yeah.
commercial dance, what's the window? Like, do you find out the day before, 2 days before? Like, give the
Yeah.
listeners a little bit of knowledge in regard to that.
Sure. Yeah. So I'll just go from audition to if you book it. So typically you do the audition. I would say it is different for every job, but I would say for most things, the audition is probably like 2 weeks before the job starts, I would say. Sometimes it's longer before, depending on how big the job is. If it's a bigger job, it'll be before. But I would say that's the typical span of the audition. And then once you get that, probably within like a week, you'll either get like a callback or you'll get put on a veil or put on hold, which I mean, callback, obviously there's going to be like a audition part two where you have to come in again, but they cut it down. So it's less people. And then a veil is checking if you're available for the job. So it's kind of like, we're thinking about you. We're letting you know we're thinking of you. And then being put on hold is like a formal, like you have to hold those dates because we're probably going to book you, but it's still not confirmed. And then obviously if you book it, you book it. But then you find out probably a week after the audition, and then the job happens, and then you do the job. But I would say most jobs I do nowadays are probably shorter than a week or two. Most
Wow.
jobs are not that long unless it's like you're doing a movie or you're
Hmm.
doing a TV show long term or
Hmm.
things like that, or going on tour with an artist. That's another like
Hmm.
longer job.
Hmm.
But most
Hmm.
dance jobs that I do in the commercial industry are shorter than a week-ish.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really tight. It almost equates to the commercial space, like if you're auditioning for commercials and things like that. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
crazy. So have you done musical theater? Is that of interest to you? Are you a singer, actress also? Because I was on
Oh,
IMDb. If anybody
yeah.
wants to find out lots about Amanda, go to IMDb because there's lots of information there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like you're a singer too. Talk about that.
Yeah, so growing up I did a lot of plays actually. So I
Okay.
did so many different like professional dinner theaters growing up. I just really enjoyed that when I was growing up. So I did, oh my gosh, the amount of productions I did of Annie is crazy. I think I was like every orphan at this point in
Oh
different
no.
productions.
Okay.
Um but I did Annie a bunch of times. I did like Carousel, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I did like everything you can imagine. And I love musicals, but then it just got to the point where I had to narrow it down if I really
Mhm.
in my experience, I had to narrow it down to, one or two things that I really wanted to pursue because growing up, I was kind of the kid that did everything. So I did ice skating, I did horseback riding, I did cheerleading, I did soccer, I did hockey. I wanted to do everything. And then it got to the
Yeah.
point where I was like, okay, this is great that you got to experience everything. But now I kind of need to
Sure.
focus on what I really want to
Yeah.
do. So
Yeah.
I started doing kind of theater a little bit less as I started to focus more on dance. But I'm
Mhm.
still very passionate about, musical theater and singing and acting. And if I ever got the opportunity, I would like love to do, musicals. There was an audition recently for Wicked. I think it was the national tour and Broadway. And I went to that and I was like, oh my God, like Wicked is one of my favorite musicals.
Oh, that's
I'm
so
happy to
cool.
be here. Obviously I didn't get it or else I wouldn't be talking about it, but it was like still so cool just to be in that environment because I hadn't been in that for so long.
Mhm.
But if
Mhm.
I ever got the opportunity, I would love to, do Broadway or
Mhm.
a national tour of something.
Yeah.
Um, I did the national tour of Wizard of Oz actually. Um, I
Really?
I was like I get my ages mixed up all the time. When I was under 10. I was probably like 8 or 9.
Yeah,
Um,
that's so you've done so much already because you started so young. That's crazy. You're so far ahead of your peers, you know? So, we have to talk about all of the experience you've had as an adult performer. It's just magical. I honestly had no idea when we did the music video. For everybody listening, Amanda participated in a music video that I was involved in casting, and she ended up participating in that. And I knew of you. I knew what you had done, kind of like the cream of all of it, but I had no idea. So just maybe talk a little bit about the highlights because there's so
there.
much. And certainly people would love to hear about what it was like to dance for these major, we're talking top artists in the industry. And I saw you on TV a few times recently too at some award shows. So maybe give us a whole kind of rundown of that professional experience as an adult.
Okay, yeah, I've been very I my first word I always want to say is lucky, and I think I am lucky with certain opportunities, but I think it's also important to point out that I did work very hard for it as well. So it's deserved, but also I am very lucky for the opportunities. So let's see. I'll start with award shows, I guess. I've done the Radio Disney Music Awards, I've done the AMAs, People's Choice Awards, and I've done the Emmys, I've done the Latin AMAs. I think that's it for award shows. And I did them with Zoe Wees, Kelsey Ballerini, um, the Emmys, and then Ozuna and Megan Trainor. So and all those were amazing experiences, like absolutely fantastic. I think one of my favorites was the AMAs with Zoe, just because it was a really powerful performance. The song was called Girls Like Us. And it's a very important song for her, and I love the song as well. And I got a little solo in the little performance, and it was really cool because I know if I would have seen someone like me, at an award show, like dancing to a song like that.
Yes, yes, I could cry. Yes, absolutely.
So that
Absolutely.
was really exciting. That was one of my favorites. And then for artists, I've done music videos for Lady Gaga, Katy Perry. Also, pardon me if I forget some stuff, but I think those are my biggest music videos, and those are my favorites. Katy Perry, the best. She was very down to earth and so nice. I actually won a contest to get that opportunity. But she came up to me and she knew who I was. I was very surprised. She was like, "Oh, like I saw all your stuff on Instagram and I loved your video. Like you're so amazing. I love what you stand for." And I was like, I was like, you saw me? So that was amazing. And then Lady Gaga was like, I'm still processing that because that was like a dream come true. I've always loved her and she's one of my favorite like pop stars and I love it. And that was an
That has to be that it has to feel a little bit surreal, like to be
oh,
there once you're because you're going through that process of auditioning. So maybe talk about the process of auditioning for Lady Gaga. Like how did that work? Did you see Lady Gaga? Like I think there's people, you know how you get the layman and I'm sure you run into friends and people who, don't really know the business. And I think it's important that parents and even young adults who don't really understand how this process works. So maybe talk about how you got into the audition, either Lady Gaga or Katy Perry, one of whichever one you want to talk about, and how you ended up at the audition and, how that process went and how it felt in rehearsal, just to kind of give them a vibe for what that's like.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lady Gaga, so there was an audition for this one, an in-person audition. This was before COVID hit. It was a few months before. So we had an in-person audition. I honestly can't remember if it was closed to agencies or open. I can't remember, but I want to say closed. But there was still a good amount of people there. I would say there was probably total with girls and guys, maybe like 300, 400 people. Pretty big audition. And we went in, we were sent a video of choreo actually, and we were told to get familiar with it before we came in because I don't think they wanted to take as much time as normal teaching it.
To
So they had more
teach,
time
yeah.
to audition. So I saw the combo and I was like, oh, I love it. This is one of my favorite songs. It was Starstruck. I was like, I love this song. So I was like, this is a dream come true. All the pieces are aligning. This is one of my favorite songs of hers. Like, it's gonna happen. And I learned the combo. I went in. I was just so excited. And then we did it. We probably went over the combo for like 15 minutes. Then he broke it down. Richie Jackson, her choreographer, he broke it down into groups of I think 5. And then you go. And I want to say, I can't remember if we did it once or twice, but we did it. And then he'll either tell you, "Thank you, you can go," or he'll tell you to stay. And so he actually went to me and was like, "Where are you from? Like, where are you from?" And I was like, I'm from Colorado, but I live here." And he was like, "Oh, like you're fantastic." I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much." And then I got asked to stay. And then what they did at the end with everyone that was asked to stay is they took a picture of us with our headshots, and then that was it. And then I found out probably like a week or two later that I had booked it, and I was freaking. I was like, and it was so exciting. And then just being in the room. So Lady Gaga wasn't at the audition, but she was at rehearsals, and she is such a hardworking artist. Like she was in there dancing so much, like going so hard, and she cares so much about the art she does. And it was really inspiring to be in the room with her because I was like, oh wow, like this is why she's gotten where she's gotten. One, she's so talented, but two, just her work ethic and how much she cares about her art was it was next level. And she was so sweet to everyone and like hugged all of us and said thank you for being here. And she was amazing. And then on shooting it was so cool. We had to we shot like far away. We shot probably like 2 hours in the middle of like a desert somewhere.
Oh wow.
It was a really cool experience. We had amazing costumes and it was just amazing. And to say that I've worked with her is definitely such a cool thing to say that I honestly never thought I'd be able to. So it was very full circle. And then other stuff I've done, I'm not going to talk as much about those, but I've done Rihanna's Savage Fenty show 3 times now, which every time that's insane to me. It's one of my favorite, it's probably one of my favorite jobs I've ever done. I love the message of it. I love the people that do it. I love the show. I love everything about it. And it's always such an empowering experience, and I'm very lucky to be a part of that show. I was on Little Mermaid Live on ABC. I was a mermaid. I was one of Ariel's sisters.
Are you
So
serious? I didn't know that. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That must have been fun.
that was a really cool one because I went as a dancer to audition for a dancer, and then they asked who could sing, and then I sang, and then I ended
What?
up doing mostly singing. And I was one of Ariel's sisters. We're in the tail, so we can't really dance as much.
Right, right.
So that was cool to kind of get to do a singing opportunity. That was really fun, and the cast was amazing on that, and that was such a just a fun job that I got to do. And then yeah, I've done campaigns for American Eagle, Dove, Nike. Um, I've just been able to work with a lot of amazing people, and I've gotten a lot of amazing opportunities, and I'm excited to see, what happens next. And then I just got back from the East Coast. I was filming a movie there for a month, which was absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I'm just excited to see where I'll go next because as we said, we have no idea.
Yeah, we have no idea. Exactly. But it's so great. It seems like you don't have, I mean, with the amount of work that you've done and you're so young, it seems like there probably, I'm going to assume that there wasn't a lot of time in between projects. Like, do you find that sometimes you're having to negotiate because they're rolling over each other?
Yeah, that's one thing that kind of um isn't the best about the well, I don't want to say isn't the best about the industry because you're if you're having a hard time picking jobs because they overlap, you're very lucky because the fact that you have jobs to like choose or
Mhm.
that oh shoot they both want me, that's a great
Yeah,
problem to have. So there have been a few
true
times
that.
where I haven't been able to do certain jobs I wanted because they crossed over with another one.
Mhm,
But there have been multiple times where it's like I just got done with a job like yesterday and then 2 days later I'm back rehearsing for something else.
mhm,
But
mhm.
again, that is such a great thing to have, and I love staying busy, and if you're busy then you're doing something right. So
Mhm,
that's
mhm,
great, but there have been times where I've had to not do really exciting things because I've been doing something else.
mhm.
But I
Yeah.
just always say, that opportunity wasn't for me.
Mhm,
I was meant to
mhm.
be doing something else. And
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm sure you've met some pretty influential people. You mentioned Lady Gaga. Is there
Mhm.
anybody else that you would say has been more influential than others? I mean, you've been everywhere. I'm looking at the Ellen show,
Mhm.
The
Oh,
Voice. I know there was an AGT experience. I'm looking
mhm.
at so many different people. Brian Friedman, you were on a cruise, you've done, I mean, I'm just looking at all of this, and you're a very high end, social media influencer, which we have to get to also. But was there someone else, anyone else that you felt was helped you with, a situation or was a turning point for you, or somebody else that you would want to make mention of that? Oh,
Yeah.
Megan Trainor's another one I'm looking at.
Oh, she was amazing. She was one of the first bigger artists I got to dance for, and I love her, and I really loved her at that time and still love her now obviously. But that was really cool because I loved her songs and I would always dance to them, and then getting the opportunity to meet her and dance with her for her Radio Disney performance was amazing. And she is so sweet and just so appreciative of everyone, and she's just like a light in the space, very bright and like happy, and she was amazing. So that was definitely great working with her. And one person that I didn't mention, I did Coachella with Lizzo. Lizzo was great. I think what she is doing is amazing, and I'm so glad that she's getting the recognition that she deserves. And I just think doing that with her was really empowering for me because it was so great to be on a stage full of other, people that have probably been told you don't have the
Hmm.
right look.
Hmm.
So for all of us to be coming together and to put on that show for everyone at Coachella was really amazing. And I think that one was really special to me. And I love her. And um, I think she's amazing. And it's definitely helped me throughout my journey. But yeah, there's so
Yeah.
many people I could name, but those are the ones that came to mind.
Yeah, with I'm glad you mentioned Lizzo because I was going to ask about her as well. The I was just so happy she won the Emmy. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
I watched that show. I actually have to share with you that I put that her show on, and I thought, I don't know if this is going to be, you look at it, it seemed like, is this a reality show? Like, what is this kind of thing? And I could not stop watching. I
Mhm.
pretty much binge watched that show because
Me too. Me too.
she was incredible in the
Yeah.
way she handled individuals, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And the process, and, having worked in the industry myself,
Mhm.
everyone handles things differently, but
Yeah.
certainly at the top of the industry, everyone is very kind and very supportive and very much about lifting others. And I
Mhm.
think that's something that I find with parents on more of a local level
Sure.
or a community theater level doesn't always happen. Do you know what I mean? Where once you get into that professional side, do you find you're basically reiterating what I was thinking. Actually, I was thinking it as you were talking about all these people that were so kind and nice and lifted you. And I think the listener might be thinking, oh, geez, everybody's kind and nice. Do you know what I mean? But it's true. Like, we want to sit here and say at the top of the industry, it is true that people are, wonderful and kind and lifted, they want to lift you up. And I think with Lizzo's show, I don't know, I felt that it was just so remarkable how she handled even the one, I don't know, I don't want to call, I guess the one dancer who didn't really, she wasn't bringing the right energy. You know what? Did you watch the whole series?
Yeah, I did watch the whole series, and yeah, I thought it was amazing, and I think it put I'm just so happy for all the people that were on the show too, all those dancers that were on the show, because that's such a great opportunity for them, and
Oh,
it's
yes.
gotten them so many places, and
Yeah.
they deserve it. They were fantastic, and I think Lizzo, it's great that she gave them that opportunity and is putting a light on them. And I think there's never been a show like this at all. So it was really exciting to watch, and it was really cool because obviously I know I'm not gonna say I know all those dancers' experiences, but obviously I can bond with them with certain experiences because we've had similar ones as far
Yeah.
as dance.
Yeah.
And it was really cool hearing their story and seeing how they overcame certain things, and just seeing them how the show ended, and like just seeing them achieve what they did. It was really cool, and
Yeah, it was awesome. The whole thing was just
the show was
incredible.
amazing. And yeah, I think Lizzo did an amazing job with how she put everything together and how she handled everything, and it was great. So yeah, I
Yeah.
love her. I think she's amazing.
Yeah, I thought that was an incredible show, incredible story, incredible. It's just teaching people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
About all of that and how they need to have their eyes opened a little bit. So, perfect segue. So, you know where I'm going next. So, let's talk about I don't want to not talk about this. Let's talk about your passion and what you're doing as far as being an influencer and what that means to you and what that means to others and how people can get connected to that mission and all of it. Just let's
Yeah.
talk about all that, please.
Yeah. So I'm very passionate about, trying to get more inclusion and diversity in dance, but also just the entertainment industry as a whole. Just because it is not really inclusive, especially for, in my experience, body types. And so I have a hashtag that I created about, how long has it been now? Like 6, 7 years ago. I honestly don't know how long it's been because I feel like I've had it forever. But around 6 or 7 years ago, and it's called hashtag breaking the stereotype. And I think people think it's this big, like, dramatic story of me sitting down, like, I need to plot what my what movement I'm going to create, and it really was not that big of a thing when I initially created it. I just made it because I was scrolling through Instagram and I had seen that some of the people I follow were using this hashtag that was kind of special for them, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. Like, that's a cool idea. I want to kind of make a hashtag for me that kind of summarizes what I'm all about and what I want to achieve with my career and my message and just who I am. And I thought of breaking the stereotype because there are stereotypes that I'm working on breaking in the industry. And
Yeah.
that's one of my goals with what I do, is showing people that you don't have to fit in. Again, whatever that means, like, I don't know what fit in means. I don't think anyone fits
Do
in.
you think it's coming from, you know, upbringing? Do you think it's something that is just systemic because of what people are used to seeing? Like, let's go back to old Hollywood. Do you know what I mean? If we go back to, that time frame and them wanting, tall female dancers with long legs and tap shoes or high heels, like I think it's not unlike and of course I was a big part of that transition where hip hop became a genre that actually means something, that you have to train in that genre, and it was something that people were fighting because they wanted to keep it, a different way. So, I feel like, is it just, we just have to change the mindset of the people who are the writers, the producers, the directors, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's where it is. You know, is the writer writing, when a writer writes, let's say a play, a musical, a series for Netflix, they have in their heads the idea of the character. This is what I envision the character to look like, right? I do a lot with actors, so they're envisioning what that character is going to look like. So when they go to put the breakdown out, it is specific to what they're thinking. And I think we need to change their mindset. Do you know? I mean, I don't know. How do you feel about that?
A lot of these issues with inclusion and diversity and the lack of it comes from what we saw growing up, or what I saw growing up, and years and years before that, and decades
Mm-hmm.
before that.
Mm-hmm.
Because growing up,
Absolutely.
we were seeing, even on magazines, that has an impact on how people cast. What we would see on, 17 magazine was not, or like Sports Illustrated, like that was not inclusive. So
No.
we just got used to thinking, oh, that's normal and that's what's accepted. So if you're not that, then we don't want you. Like, because no one wants something that's different for some reason. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we don't want to be inclusive and diverse. Okay. But I think it just comes from what we saw growing up, and then people were just going by that and kind of following it as um like a guide to follow. And I
Mm-hmm.
think people were scared to do anything other than that, or to give people a chance that were different than that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think social media has helped a lot with fighting for more representation for all different kinds of people, and making just the entertainment industry more diverse. I think social media has helped a lot, and that's again something that I'm hoping my page is helping with some. And I hope that I'm helping people see that you can, make it, and there is a place for you if you just keep going. You're going to get knocked down time and time and time again, but if you keep going, there are people that are going to see you, and they're going to believe in you and believe in your talent. And there have been people like that for me. Obviously, no matter how many people doubted me, there's always been that person after that's believed in me and given me the chance. And so we are getting better. Like, we have definitely taken steps forward. We are not all the way there yet by any means. There's still so much more work that needs to be done, but we have seen improvements. And so I'm grateful that we're going in the right direction, at least. But yeah, so that's what my hashtag is all about, is just kind of bringing more awareness to, body positivity and just self-love in general, and showing people that there's not a right body type. There's not a right look to make it. And that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
fighting to
Mm-hmm.
show.
Yeah, I think you're doing it. I think you are doing it. You're getting the job done, because there's just so many people talking. I don't even know if you realize the people that are talking about you and the people who are inspired by you. Yeah, all over the world. You're doing
Oh,
really great things, really great things.
thank you.
It's just really incredible. Yeah. So, okay. So this is perfect. So, can people reach out to you? Like, can you kind of give them an idea of how to connect with you if they'd like to? Do you accept like private messaging or direct message? And how does that work, and all of those good things, so they can feel like they can connect?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I try to answer my messages as much as I can. Sometimes I miss them, or sometimes, like, so don't don't hate me if somehow your message goes unseen. I really try to look at all of them and respond. But I do look at my DMs. So my Instagram is Amanda LaCount. So you can message me on there if you ever, need advice, or if you're going through something, or if there's a story you want to share with me. I've had multiple times where people have sent me stories. I don't like getting them, unfortunately, because they're stories of people that maybe are having a hard time on their dance team, or at school, or whatever it may be, and they're just looking for someone to kind of help out their friend, or something. And I always love getting those, because it makes me happy knowing that they think they can come to me. And so yeah, I always try to look at my messages, but sometimes it's a lot to go through. But you can always DM me, and I try to look through those. I would say that's probably the best place, because that's
Okay.
where I look the most.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Okay,
but
awesome. Hey, listen, is there a book in the future?
I would love that. My mom and I have talked about that before, and we would love, because there's so many things people don't even know about. Like, there's there's so many parts of my struggle with my career and just life in general that I don't talk about, that people would be very surprised to hear about. So I definitely want to do a book at some point. I'm not going to say it's anytime soon, but I definitely want to do that in the future for sure.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, congratulations and thank you so much. This has been so great.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Yeah, I'm really excited to see where your future goes, and I think you're going to do great things, and we're going to look forward to the book.
Thank you. I will let you guys know when it's coming out.
Amazing. Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you so much.
If you'd like to connect with Amanda and continue to follow her professional journey, follow her on Instagram at Amanda LaCount. And join me Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Need more information? Visit lbctalent.com and follow me on socials at Leesa Csolak _LBC Talent. By sharing our stories, we can help other talented individuals land the career of their dreams. If you're enjoying this podcast, please like and subscribe below.